You know what it is. Biggie Astrology, episode 137, Knowledge is Love. Me and my amazing guest, Gemini Brown. And we started off like how two MCs spitting astrology would do. It's that time. Gemini, get him!
Yeah. Oh, I like this beat. I gotta let it build a little bit. Okay. Welcome to the show, y'all. Knowledge is love. Here we go. Yeah. Listen up. Let me grab your attention. I live on a plane. It's called the fifth dimension. The home of poets and souls in transition. Flow potent. You know it. Gotta listen. Got a vision. One day they'll be my artist. The ones in control, putting out pure garbage. Can't fuck with the gifted. Always lifted. Never shy. Mercury and Sun, resting Gemini. I'm selling at it all. Cause I know I can. Watch me extend my friend. Like the Virgo I am. I hear the beat. Hit the blunt. Get gone. It's a crime. Your rhymes are nowhere near my zone. This is my throne. Call me sire. Be the supplier of a movement getting strong. Be the supplier to the day I'm getting gone. Till I expire. I'm forever inspired. I'm gone.
Woo! Alright. Yo, man. Oh my God. Yo.
What up, Stephen the Jupiterian? He's in the
Yeah,
building.
what up, Steven? Alright. Now the OG got to spit.
Okay,
you know, we
OG.
having fun with it, Virgo style.
Let's go.
What? You complete Biggie Astrology? Hey, yo. So what's my mission as I come to this planet? Move over Saturn, cause your rings can't stand it. I slammed it as my breath exhaled, and I'm coming through the oceans like Orca the whale. 9 months in jail for the womb to the tomb. I was born in September, but I was ready in June. And my Gemini Brown to Gemini C, but off the top I just spit it easily. The Scorpio rising is so enterprising. Don't you understand? The ladies I was hypnotizing back in the days when I was a single man. Don't you understand? I had a plot in the plan. Come on, son, I just jumped in my pool. Lyrically off the top, you know I'm not a fool. The veteran with the Capricorn moon. You know what I do? I was ready in June. I said, that is the truth, you know. I got the truth. That's the ill scenario.
Yeah.
From the city of the N and the Y. Don't you understand? Of course,
hey, your boy Illmatic. You could call me Nas. I've been a Poogie, but I'm better than Prize. I like the Wizard, but I live in Oz. I'm doing my thing, my God. Gemini, never lie, stay fly. My whole life, hell yeah, I've been that guy. I got the Leo in 12th, that's straight wealth. And let you know anything I need, I do it myself. Part in the wealth, I'm doing it all in. Killing this beat, it's daily departing. I'm starting all of these fire flows. I'm taking everything that you need to know. I grow like a plant in the soil. Flow so hot that it make your skin boil. Bring the soil. I'm here and I ain't got no fear in the world. Yo, shout out to the girls.
What? That's crazy ill. I'm gonna break it down and then we'll start the show real ill. Your stars wait to collide on my last day. So when I leave this planet, I will exist anyway. What's the structure of being? There's too much water that I'm seeing, but I got a Pisces North Node. I know the code, my lyrical abode. Don't you understand? You know we like to float, levitate, never hesitate. You understand me and Gemini, we're both great. Lyrically, MCs you see, but we're here to spit knowledge and astrology for all of y'all tonight, B.
Fireball.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Oh my God. Yo, this is what it's all about. I've been trying to get the young G on for a minute. And you know what? I gotta say, man, I want to tell you something. When I first started getting back, because I've always been into astrology, but when I first started getting back into astrology, and I signed up on YouTube, and yeah, I'm an OG, a veteran, but you're the veteran in astrology. And so when I first came back and started to like look at stuff and even understand YouTube, and I saw Peace Dealer and Dolo the Pilot Man and, you know, different astrologers. But I guess for me, of course, I was drawn right to my brothers, to Black men astrologers. Yeah. And I think that it's so important because so many people, you know, have stereotypes and don't understand and don't really think. They think astrology is just feminine or astrology is not for men. And I was just like, nah, that's not true. You got real cats, real dudes who love astrology and understand this ancient wisdom. So I want to start off, before we get into Pluto and Capricorn retrograde, all that in episode 137, Knowledge is Love, I want to ask you, man, what got you into astrology? How did that come about?
Yeah, glad to be here, E. Glad to be here. Just like we all watch each other, and I've been seeing you put in work. Once I saw you were double Earth, I was like, oh, it's a workhorse. And then he got all that Virgo, I was like, he's a workhorse, man. And no. But on a serious note, it's everyone, we all inspire each other. So the audience out there, they're inspired by us. But I'm very much inspired, like you said, by seeing others of a like mind, right? That you can relate to. And it's like I said, seeing you put in the work, being where I'm at, it's a beautiful reminder that every astrologer and their astrology is a journey. And those following your channel with you are part of that journey. So I'm constantly stressing this advice because we're here with Neptune and Pisces, y'all, but you really have to run your own race. You really do. And it's about you and your journey. And I'm just the Virgo in me is always reinforcing that we have to apply the knowledge. We have to apply it in order for the transformations to occur. And these magical things and deep transformations occur through the little things on the everyday. And that is truly the gift of, Virgo and Earth energy. So at the end of the day, it boils down to the work. And I connect with those who put in the work. And I'm inspired by those who, get to it, man. So I wanted to say that.
I appreciate that, man. That's good. So what gave you the astrology bug?
Yeah, the astrology bug. I feel like it's always been there, right? But my spiritual journey started in about 2010. In 2010, I graduated high school in 2009. And so I say it like this. I made an agreement with the universe that I was gonna have this nice human experience. And then once I hit 18, it snatched me up and said it's time to get to work. So I was fresh out of high school. I was in audio school. I was in audio school. I was an audio engineer, and I was doing that. And in true Gemini fashion, I was always creatively expressing myself in various ways. So I was going to school. In the day, being in the studio, and all of that. But then also doing poetry, discovering the open mic scene out there in NY. And so essentially, I was burning the oil. I was out there, but I'm young. I had this energy, and one day, I had an anxiety attack. Like I just remember, like everything was a bit much. My awareness was very heightened, and so I had that anxiety attack, and went to the hospital and stuff like that. Told me what it was. Then I ended up having one like a month later. So and then so once the second one occurred, the next day I was at the library. I walked into the library, and there was a book, a card of books going back, and my eye just zoomed in on it, a book that was about transcendental meditation. So I didn't even think about this, I just was like, okay, I'm reading this. Right? Never thought about meditation or anything a day in my life, but I'm like, yo, like these like I don't like the feeling of this anxiety thing, and like, the curiosity is like, let me see what this is about. Opened it up, and like I said, there was no resistance. I was just like, I'm trying this. And so I began meditating, and consistently meditating. Then I want to say within the next month, I met my spiritual mentor. Now, all of this is still no astrology yet. Okay. So I meet my spiritual mentor, and then we start to build on the universe. So in Gemini fashion, I'm getting a wide array of understanding on different things. So she's stimulating my occult mind, right?
Wow.
And this goes on for, and I also want to preface that I could give more details on how I met her, but but I want to preface that for me, this woman didn't know me from a can of paint. Um, she was very different. I'm a black man. She was from Bulgaria, right?
Mm.
But I think because I was always close to my elders, I was always close to my grandmother. It was just easy for me. You know what I mean? Like to gravitate towards her and build with her. I don't know if anyone else in my position at that age would have took it serious, but I just did, and it was an ease there. So, she's teaching me about different things, and I'm continuing to meditate, and I'm noticing the changes within myself. I'm changing. My DNA is upgrading, and I can feel it. At
And
this
those
time,
results were crucial to your growth.
yes. So you fast forward a little bit. One day, I'm building with her, and she just simply says to me, "What do you know about astrology?" Of course, I'm like, "I'm a Gemini," and all she says is, "You should look into that. I think it'll be." So I go next time I'm at the library. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I looked now." I've seen this. I had looked at. I think everyone does this. You look in an astrology book, but you just go to your sign, right?
Right.
So I had looked in this astrology book before. I'd been going to this library for years. I would read up on my sign whenever I was curious. So I go back, I get the same book, but it comes alive. The book comes alive, and
Mm.
the initiation begins. So, um, like I said, it's just when I reflect on the journey, it's truly the unconscious working because just like all of us here were stimulated. Like, okay, this is cool, right? But my thought now is like, what makes you keep going? Now, mind you, I have so many other things going on, but I'm
Right.
making time for astrology, just me and the book, right? And that begins the journey. So for me, I bring all of that up because I really feel like my journey is different with astrology because it began with meditation and like a well-rounding some so it wasn't just information to me. By the time I got to the information, it synced in with my psyche in this way, in a particular way. It's like I was rediscovering it, which ultimately I was, and then it just keeps building there. Now the funniest thing is this is like 2011, man. I don't realize I'm an outside guy, so I really be in the world, but I don't realize that people are teaching astrology on YouTube until maybe 2013. And I remember it was a full moon. It was a full moon in Scorpio. And I was just like feeling not grounded and just like, what is going on? So it just so happened I had joined, I was a part of a Facebook group for Virgo Risings. It was a whole Facebook group for Virgo Risings. And I mentioned to someone in the group, like, yo, this is how I feel. And he's like, you should check this guy out. He has good advice, and he's a Gemini. And that was and it was the peace dealer. So that was the first.
Oh,
Yeah,
Peace Deal is a Gemini. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's
yeah, he's
dope.
a Gemini. Yep, he's a Cat Moon as well.
Yeah, I knew it was a cat moon. That I did know.
So he's the first person I saw on YouTube or whatever, and then I was just like, holy shit. But honestly, I really can't locate the thought that said, let's make a YouTube channel. Like I don't,
Wow.
and I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff is unconscious, man. It's you just doing what you're guided to do. Yeah, so that's a little bit of the beginning of my journey.
Well, you know what's so great in that you said a couple of key words, the unconscious, and that, you went into it through the meditation first. And none of that surprises me because you guys, Gemini Brown is not just Gemini Sun in the 10th house with the Virgo rising. He's got the moon on the ascendant. So, of course, the mentor for Bulgaria, she was just naturally connected to that and sense, like the what is it? The master comes when the student is ready. And so like she sensed that, and she sensed this, like, she's like, who is this young kid? So she got excited. And that was your Virgo moon. And then yeah, you've been doing this before. Like, we don't share many placements, but we both share the North Node, the fifth house. And for those who know, they know. But because Gemini's got the Uranus and Neptune there with the North Node, and the fifth house also, you guys, holds past life karmas. Yeah.
Hold on, E, because I might have been looking at your. I think I might be looking at the wrong chart that you for you.
Oh, for me, yeah. Well,
I got
the
you
whole sign,
Scorpio.
yeah. I'm the Scorpio rising, Cap Moon third house, yeah,
Okay,
and that
okay,
Virgo stellium in the 11th. But
okay, okay. No,
but
it's just
that's what was so dope when I saw that for you, because my North Node's in the fifth house in Pisces, right? Yours is fifth house Capricorn. But when I saw the Uranus Neptune, I was like, yeah, Gemini's been doing this, right, for multiple past lives. The Uranus Neptune in the fifth house Capricorn, it's like, yeah, astrology business. Like, you know what I mean? So you were destined, and you're at your young age, you're way ahead of the game, rocking in your North Node already.
Indeed.
You're like rocking the North Node. But I think it's just beautiful. And I think, and maybe you let me know if you feel the same way. So every time I get a new client, and I'm just so humbled and honored to be of service to the collective. But when I hit that button and I see the chart, I'm like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just get excited, like the detective, to jump in. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. No.
Feel that? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no. I would say, like you just expressed, is definitely a life's work. I'm pulling from a lot of factors. So when I was, discovering this, and I'm still amazed. So I just want to give a little light to Jupiter. So I always tell people, Jupiter is your slice of divine knowledge and wisdom, right? There is a deeper meaning behind everything in the universe. And wherever your Jupiter ends up, you're privileged to an understanding of that. This is said for a construction worker, right? They have an understanding of masonry that the average person doesn't. Now, if they were to come into astrology or the occult with an open mind, their Jupiter would allow them to make the connections, probably from a geometric, a standpoint. But I say that to say it's all connected. So when I when I connect with charts, I'm very much seeing their journey in a sense, on various levels. So yeah.
And I thought it would be perfect to discuss it with Gemini. And, we're going to get into some deeper insights on the Gemini archetype, because it is Gemini season. But Pluto is currently in retrograde, right, in Aquarius. But it's going into Capricorn 5:36 a.m. Eastern on June 11th, right? And that chart is a Taurus ascendant. So it's still got Jupiter in the North Node and in the conjunction, Mercury and Uranus. And that Pluto Capricorn is in the ninth house, with the chart ruler Venus being in Leo in a conjunction to Mars in the fourth house. And I just think it's a fascinating energy, along with, Saturn in the 11th house in Pisces and an exact Moon-Neptune conjunction at 27 degrees. So for me, when I first saw that, I was like, Pluto conjunct the midheaven in the ninth house in Capricorn, and it's retrograde, right? So you guys have to understand, this retrograde from June 11th goes all the way to January 20th of 2024. So that's why I really want to talk about it, because it's a very important knowledge that we need to understand how to deal with this energy, right? And then another retrograde from September to November. But for this chart, it's just this energy, right? And so when you first saw the chart, Gemini, share with the audience, what was your first thing that you were like, what's really gonna be popping off from June to January,
Right. So for me, the biggest thing to keep in mind here is that these are happening at critical degrees, and this is a transitionary period. We're coming to the end of one major transit and moving into the next. So all of this speaks of culmination, wrapping up. Now, the interesting thing for me and how I pay attention to the degrees. I believe each degree speaks and holds a particular vibration that when you really start to tune into them, particularly the long-standing ones, like Saturn, that might hang out on a degree for a particular time, you can start to understand how to express the energy or how it wants to be expressed. So I'm looking at Saturn here at 7 degrees as a need to perfect what is already known and release. So a release and a renewal, okay? A release of everything that is connected towards the old, right? That you're leaving behind, or everything that Capricorn may represent for you or collectively, right?
Right.
And then there's a need to perfect the new state of a being within one's spirituality, or like I like to call it, the building of a new paradigm in this current moment. Now that's where you add the other energy. So we know that Pluto is going back to then go forward into Aquarius. So what is preparing you, or how are you preparing yourself for that shift? Then when we come back, when we bring in the North Node here, it's like we all want comfort. We want security, right? And it's right now that's actually the restructuring of that. So how I see it is that this is granting us a time to perfect where we want to go, right? So this time period, this retrograde period, is like a seed planting point for when you look back 5 years from now, you're going to see the decisions that you did or didn't make, how they have bloomed. So I think it's a seeding point with emphasis on like right action, but from the Saturn and Pisces perspective, which is like honoring spirit in that disciplined way. So
Yes. That's
in
what
this
I've been telling them. Yep.
Gemini season, right? So it's like Saturn and Pisces represents for everybody the journey that you've been on. Depending on your age, it can go as far back as you like it. But let's just all say this, since Saturn was back in, let's say, like was in Leo or Virgo, since that opposition point. So that might have been
Right.
around like '09 or so, right? There was yes, this is all actually very connected, because one thing I want to mention to you guys is there are many cycles, right? So we recently had when Jupiter was in Pisces, Neptune and Jupiter conjunct. That represents a new period in regards to those energies. So the expansion of our spirituality, what we know, and how to apply it, right? So that's a new cycle. The one before that with Neptune and Pisces occurred in Aquarius. So that was in essence, the beginning of social media, right? And we all expanded within the social media sense since then. So this time is about perfecting the things you've learned upon the spiritual path. So for some people, they've had to go vegan, right? Or they know that they've had to adjust their diets. For a lot of men that I work with, and this is a pleasure of mine, introducing them to semen retention, right? And going, for those in relationships, tantra, all of that is,
Yeah.
we all gain some understanding of how to transcend past the old limitations. Now it's about how do you ground that energy, perfect it, and get it to like carve out a place of stability and consistency for it.
Definitely. And see, and what I like about that, and just so you guys understand, the reason why Gemini was kind of looking at that first, because even though it's a Taurus rising and the chart ruler is Venus, we are looking at Pluto and Capricorn, right? So because we're dealing with Capricorn, Saturn is its ruler, right? Saturn, rules Capricorn and Aquarius. And what's so fascinating about that, Gemini, that I really love what you were talking about, Saturn has just spent the last 6 years in its two home signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. So then when it makes the dance into Pisces, and I've been saying this to my audience for a while, it's very important. I like thematically what's happening here. Saturn is in Pisces in the 11th house, and that 7th degree, it's a very spiritual number. In 2023, we're in a Neptune K2 spiritual year, right? So when it's in the house of our hopes and dreams and wishes, and you're dealing with the internet and your group's organization, social network, Saturn in Pisces is telling and screaming to us, we need the spiritual discipline. So for you to get ready, to really get ready for when it goes back from 24 to 44, Pluto in Aquarius, right? The age of Aquarius, we're leaving the Piscean age behind. You really have to understand having healthy boundaries to achieve your goals and dreams in life, having discipline and also spiritual discipline that will help enhance your spiritual path and growth, help enhance your creativity, your imagination. And also, we have also, so important, you guys, don't forget, you're dealing with the Pisces energy and the moon and Neptune conjunction there. We have to stop diluting and falling for the deception, fog, and illusion, right? We can't lie to ourselves anymore. As we go into the age of Aquarius and we go into the 20-year, 24 to 44 of Pluto and Aquarius, it's no more power top down Pluto Capricorn, it's power to the people. But in order to understand and integrate that, you have got to be spiritually disciplined and have discipline in your life and boundaries, understand your restrictions, and sometimes restrict ourselves, right? Sometimes we can get caught up in the gluttony or too much social media, too much food, too much sex, too much this, too much that, too much materialism. Right now, if you're just looking at the world, if somebody was like passing by Earth, they'd be like, yo, that planet is right now too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much. And so I think that it's real deep that we have this setup and this alignment. And then, hey, moon conjunct Neptune at 27 degrees is really in time really for some really powerful, super intuitive, psychic, creative energy that I think can inspire the collective to form a different new world order than others want to put upon.
Absolutely. Let me first give a early birthday shout out to my fellow Gemini, Irene Mack. She's here.
Yes.
Tomorrow. She'll be 40.
Yeah, Irene, how you doing, lady?
There's one thing, if we could divert. No, I won't go off because it's like I did want to ask you because I know you're a true child of the 70s, and part of me, being an astrologer. So we're time travelers, y'all. We are time travelers, and connecting with these charts, especially the individuals, allows us to kind of get there. So I noticed, one of the things I noticed in your chart was that Neptune Saturn opposition. And just knowing everything that you lived through, the crack epidemic, how generationally, collectively, tell me how that was, growing up with that and kind of seeing how all of that played out.
Well, it's so funny because no one has ever asked me anything like that. And so it's so deep, obviously I know you being a brilliant astrologer that you would see that, but that time the 80s was so magical, but at the same time, you're dealing with a New York City that was like Times Square was like pimps and hoes and just like it wasn't like how things got when Giuliani came and cleaned up stuff, and then also pros and cons with all that, right? But I can remember I grew up in like Washington Heights. I was on the 18th floor looking across the GW Bridge. And then we moved down to the Upper West Side. And so, quote unquote, real nice neighborhood. But it was like, I think about my boy, it was the mixed bag, baby. It was crazy wild because so I would walk down my block between Columbus and Amsterdam, but between Amsterdam and Broadway, there was a literal crack house. So yes. I sometimes would be walking dolo, not with my mom. My father was murdered when I was 6 in 1977. So I'm like 10 years old, 1980, and I'm going to the bodega, but I'm seeing people smoking crack. And then I'm seeing people like literally, I remember one time a cat came out with a gun and there was some stuff and all the stuff. And I'm just like, oh, wow, I've got to be careful. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to you get this jolt, and I'm the Generation X. And so we were all latchkey kids.
Right.
But there was this energy of like, you have to peep everything. So everything was on peep, and it was there was just such a surge because I'm like a younger brother of hip hop, right? And so I remember, Africa Bambaataa and Zulu Nation, and me and my boy, we were like, oh, let's be down with Zulu and stuff like that, and junior high school, and there was that energy in the streets of like, let's not fight, let's battle with Boogie. And we was like boogieing, and I wasn't a graffiti artist, I couldn't tag or nothing, I couldn't bomb, that's what we called it back then. So one of my boys, like, he would bomb my name up for me and stuff like that because I wasn't a good artist, but I got into the footwork and up rocking, and I grew up in the Upper West Side, and my home basketball court is where Earl Manning goes. It's called the GOAT, and that's Rocksteady Park. So I knew Crazy Legs and all these different cats. And so it was really just a fascinating time in New York City. But I think the Neptune on the ascendant, I've come to really understand that it was like a guardian angel.
How does Jupiter in the first play out with siblings?
It can give you more than 2 or 3 of them. I mean, because Jupiter is abundance, So usually when I see Jupiter in the chart for someone in the first or, any of the first 5 houses, that's one of the first questions I'm going to ask them. How many siblings do you have? Because usually you're going to have more than 2 siblings. And in the first house, you're going to have more than 2 children too, first and fifth.
Right. I would say I would ask how many siblings and what number are you? I feel like Jupiter, let's say we get it in a strong sign. Now, the conditioning and stuff matters too, but what I want to say is, I know that this position can be connected to the eldest child, and it therefore creates a natural leadership, and caring and just an expansion of self because it's associated with being the first child. All of your you get all the attention, or you want attention, things of that nature. So
and seeking knowledge and wisdom, and then wanting to teach it. Yeah.
And then wanting to teach it, right? So I've seen it where even if it's not the first sibling, it may be the sibling that is dependent upon in some sense. It can they can be the breadwinner, very abundant within themselves. So so that can very much alter the dynamic with siblings. Okay, so how the person expresses that Jupiter in the first.
Yeah. So let's get back to the Capricorn retrograde chart. What do you think when you see the Venus conjunct, the chart ruler, it's a Taurus rising, when you see the Venus conjunct Mars in the 4th house, right? Thinking of the collective in Leo, what do you think about the Venus Mars conjunction in Leo in the 4th house for this chart, for the Pluto retrograde chart?
Yeah, so remember that. So that's another fixed sign, and then that'll be squaring off to the Jupiter, right, and the North Node. So once again, I'm seeing this as a need to expand upon your Leo qualities, what you actually love, what your talent is, right? Paying attention to the signs. Now, the square aspect and everything can lead to a rushing of things. Now, in one sense, a rushing of things, so wanting things to come quicker than they're going to, right? Biting off more than you can chew. Still struggling with those particular sensory things, right? Whatever it may be. But I also see this as having to do with ethics, and we can apply this to AI. So more of my thoughts in regards to the whole transit is that one of the things with it being a retrograde, we're going to revisit things, right? So the metaverse, many people believe, the whole pandemic was an introduction for the metaverse. Let's get them to sit down so we can get them to shift over. But it didn't work. The timing was off. Okay. So in terms of their standards, that wasn't a successful launch. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a reorientation and a relaunching of the metaverse and trying to get, people over to that side. Then getting back to what I was saying about ethics and more of the Venus and Jupiter square off, the development of the relationship with AI. In one sense, it can represent. I would apply it for myself. Like, I'm a person. I have to. The Leo in me is like, I don't need the AI. I can do it. But the Taurus energy is like, let this thing help you. Right? It's coming. It's gonna be a standard. All right. You're gonna be fighting.
How do you ground it and find value in it? Yeah.
Find value. So that's one side. So you're going to have people who fall on that. Then we're going to have, going back to Saturn here, we got to acknowledge everybody ain't right. Everyone ain't going to use this thing right. And it's honestly it's human nature, y'all. It's human nature. People are going to be mischievous and find the loopholes. I don't know if, this is coming to, your cipher error, but I've seen countless people in the AI industry speak out against it, leave jobs. One person is the co-founder of Mac with Steve Jobs. Wozniak.
Yeah, why Wizanowski and Elon Musk, they were trying to tell the government, let's kind of pause and slow it down so we don't rush into this thing. Yeah,
indeed. So I believe that those are going to be two major components. So we're going to have to acknowledge that this thing is here and that everyone isn't going to play by the same rules with it. So you're going to have those who take advantage and or use it in an unethical way and things of that nature. So then
you're right. The deception, that's that Neptune, Moon, and Saturn in Pisces. And it also makes you think about deception from large organizations.
Right. Now, so I believe that this is, like I said, this is going to be a time where you're given a chance to anything that you've glossed over, that just say something. You feel like something's missing. It isn't working for you. It's your responsibility to seek out the tools that help you transcend. It's like this for us all. This is a game, and there are certain tools that we haven't uncovered yet to help us get to that next level. And this retrograde will help with that. There has to be a commitment towards that. And it would just harping home like the way I see it. All right, let me just talk about Saturn and Pisces a little bit more. I don't know about any of you guys, but the energy's been it's been showing the things that need to go. You can't even derive the pleasure from them like that. And this is just the thing that's always helped me. Like, all right, the thrill is gone here. Like, what are we doing?
Like later, bye. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for those of you interested, I have a program, a pre-recorded webinar where I dive into the psychic houses 4, 8, and 12. And within that, I talk about real transformation. And simply, transformation is the death of something. And the understanding that if I let this thing go, if I experience this death, something is going to birth.
Yes.
Something new.
Because in order to transform, you have to transmute. And that's what this scorpio south node has been blessing us and teaching us.
Yes.
And so we could purge and detox until July 16th before we switch to the Libra south node.
We can even talk about that. But yeah, bro. So yeah.
So, one thing, Gemini, that I was really putting the peep on, and, just seeing how things are coming down the pike, it's so fascinating because this is a long stretch of this retrograde going all the way to the new year and through the holidays. And, just like Pluto and Capricorn brought in the stock market crash in 2008 and through this journey we've seen, seen the illusion and the veil of all of our systems kind of go away, right? And we had Me Too and all that. And so I think, this final cleanup at the energetic degree in 29 degrees, as you were talking about, these are very powerful degrees, you guys. I think that there is also going to be some of the structures and systems kind of falling apart for us as a collective and as quote unquote Americans in terms of that ninth house, our connections with foreign lands and even our currency, right? We're seeing, you guys, the formation of BRICS. And so it's really going to be fascinating on the world stage in terms of, Russia, Ukraine, China, all this stuff that we're maneuvering through, right? What else needs to kind of transmute and be destroyed in order to rebuild, hopefully in better ways? But also we got to see with this Moon, Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces trying to rebuild, but being deceived in new structures, whether it's, digital currencies, this and that, or whatever. So I think we also have to be mindful at this time that we've really got to pay attention. I don't think it's an accident that this chart's a Taurus ascendant. And you got Mercury and Uranus, Jupiter North Node there. So we've also got to pay attention to our self, right? Relying on ourselves, being disciplined, what we value, what we need to release in terms of financially or material items, but then having the fuel, right? On our own accord to build financially what we want in the future for ourselves, and sort of tapping into that higher mind intellect. The Mercury, Uranus, and Taurus, we gotta really start to see things 5 steps before they come. But what type of things do you think that people should be really focused on June 1st, and just in general, when you have the Jupiter North Node conjunction in Taurus? What can we bring into physical reality besides the dollar bills, y'all? You know what I'm saying? What else do you feel that we can really, manifest and bring abundantly to ourselves?
Yeah. So I believe that it's a great time for me personally. I believe it's a great time for investing in like putting a practical action behind your belief. You believe in yourself. All right, show me, right? What do you want to do? Okay, invest in that. So and a lot of the beautiful thing about being an astrologer for me is that the practicing and having clients on a week-to-week basis allows me to understand the themes, right? So since I began doing readings, it always moves in a theme. So any people I see for the week and read that week, they're all connected in some way. So leading into all of this, there's been a need to stand up to your fear regarding money. So we look at Jupiter as the godfather, the one that's blessing us. He's supporting us. He wants us to expand. So in a simple sense, you have to ingrain the belief that I deserve more. But you can't just think it. You got to do things that play towards showing self or the subconscious mind that you do. Make the standard that you want to obtain a habit. So I believe that Jupiter in Taurus, the whole transit is going to facilitate the expansion of material comfort, right? But behind that, what empowers that is our feeling worthiness to have those things. So in this moment, it's about treating yourself, right? Practically, you can write out your desires, speak about. I'm telling you to act on it, to put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Now, and that's a real deep and mindful and beautiful interpretation, because it goes back in my mind. I always say, I don't like talking about it. I like being about it. And I know having a Capricorn moon, it's gotten better over the years. I always tell my clients who are younger and stuff, and people with the Capricorn moon, like, hey, I promise you it gets better. But one thing that never changes about it is that, like you were talking about earlier when you said you knew I had those places, it's the grindhouse. Like really just putting your head down and putting in the hard work.
Yep.
And, with discipline and the fuel of the hard work, you can really achieve anything. And I always try, you guys here on the chat and people watching on the replay, you can do anything. And that's what's so awesome about the birth chart in terms of being able to see, as I call it, the map of your life, to go through it and see where your gifts and skills and talents are, but then understanding how you can bring them into fruition. And when you honor that Saturn, you know what I mean? And I know you just went through your Saturn return. So, I want to see how you did with it. You can let us know. But you know what I mean? And even for people getting ready for it in Pisces, you have got to respond to your discipline, pour the cement for the solid foundation, right? And really understand that with these structures you're building, you know what I mean? You have the opportunity for real expansion and growth. And so, you guys have just got to believe in yourself. I'm always like, I always tell people with the Virgo energy, and you could relate with this as a Virgo rising. Me, I got the crazy Virgo stellium, but I always tell people Virgos are the best personal assistants you could ever have. And Virgos are like if you said to a Sagittarius, do I look good in a shirt? Sag is all blunt. They'd be like, no, right? You ask a Virgo, do I look good in a shirt? They'd be like, I like that shirt, but what if you wore like cream or like a royal blue? It might bring out your skin tone and this and that. Virgo's got like that analyzing, assessing, where it's going to try to get you with no emotion to the most optimum point. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really helpful energy at this time to really, really put into action any desires, hopes, wishes, dreams, goals, and plans you have. Discipline and hard work. You know what I mean? You got to just put it in.
So, when in reality, it's taken away from them realizing that or having gratitude for this part of their journey. You know what I'm saying?
And everything is gratitude. We have to know everything is gratitude and rocking really from the heart chakra. It's the most important thing, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that heart chakra. Indeed. Stay there. Stay in there. Yeah.
Energy. But enough about this. You guys are going to rock with this chart and this Capricorn retrograde. Be prepared for structures and systems falling away to the side. It's okay. We're going to rebuild. Age of Aquarius. Let's do this as a collective. Raise your vibration. But Gemini, you're here. We're going to rock out a couple more minutes. Give me some insight, bro. I mean, one of my sons, I've got a bunch of them, but one of my sons has your exact placement. And we talked about that before. But so separate from just the Gemini sun in the 10th house, right? Just the Gemini archetype.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me just comment because I'm reading the comments.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What happened?
Hey, y'all. That in my time, Gemini. And yeah, these are the deeper workings. The 8th house of Scorpio is Gemini. In my time, I tell people Geminis are very capable of long-term partnerships. We actually we maintain them well. If we're just not like Libra, like, hey, this is our Instagram. No, you're just not gonna know what a Gemini is doing. But from my studies, Gemini and Scorpio is a combination that creates longevity. These are very happy people together. And Jennifer was talking about her dynamic. They have 2 homes, and they take their needed space.
No, it's a beautiful thing that she's built. And you're right. Geminis do get a bad rap. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I get it. No, I definitely know Gemini men and women both cheating. But I would say in relationships, but if I'm being fair, it's mainly been when they were younger. Usually I find after the Saturn returns, that energy kind of starts to dissipate. But it's also, as you would say, right? And it's about who do you want to be? How do you want to grow and evolve spiritually as a human being? But the Gemini sun, just like any sun sign, is different in every house. So this is why sun sign astrology, you're just picking up a book or looking at the horoscope in a magazine, will always do a disservice because somebody will say, oh, I'm not that type of person. It's like, well, because you don't know what what house your sun sign's in, and you don't know the whole chart. Astrology is never one placement, you guys. But just in general, what's one of the Gemini stereotypes? Because, okay, so I'll tell you like this, right? On my channel, I always call Geminis the verbal slut. And I mean it as a term of endearment, because I think you guys are so brilliant because you're willing, sometimes unlike the Virgo, but that Gemini Mercury, you're willing to talk to anyone everywhere. The homeless person, the person at the bank, the person on the tube train.
This is a very big stereotype. You have to go to these other positions for this. Gemini suns are, all right, I guess if we go first house, fifth house, where it's like, I want to be seen, we are our truest essence or most verbal around friends.
Yes.
So I can't agree with, like, because if in my observation, like when there are if there are 8 people in a room and there happen to be 4 or even maybe 3 Geminis, we're not all gonna be hitting it off.
Oh no, definitely not.
Right. Someone has to. Now, the gift of it is if I'm in this room with 8 people and I'm the only Gemini and y'all are not got this conversation moving, I got this. But we're not just like, ooh, I want to talk to you. What's your name? I'm going to break it down for you because I've observed this. Venus in Gemini, oh my God. They think if I'm talking to someone, this is this is going somewhere. Like they are the masters of small talk. They want to, if you're pretty, they want to talk to you. They may not want to talk to you after that, but they want to get close to observe you, check you out, all of that.
They're very social. Venus, Geminis, they're socialites.
Right. And I believe more social than the suns, depending on, where it's at. Right. So, yeah, I think that's very much a stereotype for us suns. Because I think, in my experience, my Virgo probably jumps out a little bit more. Because I think if you meet me somewhere, I'm not just going to be talking. Now, when it's my turn to talk, you may like how it sounds and, oh, I like how you said that. But for the most part, I consider myself very reserved. But if I'm passionate about it, then yeah.
So let me ask you this. That's fascinating because I would associate that more with the Virgo moon and the Virgo rising. But let's say if you had that Gemini sun and you were a Libra or Cancer rising, how do you think that would play out?
Well, yeah, I know I actually have a lot of Gemini sun, Libra rising clients.
Okay.
And these are real seekers. I would say just off that could sway it. That could make them a little bit more bubbly. But I think this is all things, y'all, how I consider stuff, because Gemini is your local environment. So I need to know where this Gemini is from. Is he from the East Coast? Is he from the Midwest? Yeah. That's going to add a dynamic to it, right? But yeah, it would elaborate more of that spirit. Yeah, for sure.
So one thing that I do want to ask you about, because, and this may not be for personally Gemini Brown, but this may just be astrology experience Gemini Brown, because I'm Virgo Sun and Virgo Mercury, and you're Gemini Sun and Gemini Mercury. And one thing that I really enjoy about watching the Gemini energy is, I think sometimes with the Virgo, we both deal with the nervous system and anxiety stuff, right? Uh-huh. But I find that sometimes with the Virgo energy, I can be, not now, but when I was younger, just so over analytical and assessing. With the Gemini, because it's a masculine, more outgoing, action orientated energy. Yeah. I didn't see, especially in my 20s and 30s, my Gemini friends, I didn't see the over processing. It was just like, jumping into the jump rope, double dutch. You know what I mean? Yes. Where the Virgo was like a little bit more hesitant to jump into the double dutch, and they were like, they were calculating it more. Do you sense that, or like, how do you play that out mentally?
For me, it's beautiful, bro. I mean, I can't say it was ever. I never allowed the Virgo to overpower me.
Right.
It was there. It's like, all right, for example, I played sports growing up. Uh, like I couldn't turn it off after a bad loss. Like, and mind you, Eric, I'm sure you know. Remember Chris Webber?
Oh
Remember?
God, yeah.
I've been there. I've been there, and I could not I couldn't
Well,
turn it
but
on.
that's that Virgo moon because the Virgo.
It's just playing it over. Like, damn, if you did
Yep.
this,
Yeah,
but
you should have done that, and that's the thing. Like,
yeah,
one thing that I think fascinating that people don't understand, and this is definitely a Gemini Virgo thing, mercurial energy is super competitive. And like when I played sports, I ran track in high school and growing up, football, baseball, basketball. But like, yeah, the losing part, it was like, let's play again. Like what Coach Spoelstra said the other night, and I told the audience we might get, we both like basketball. We might get into talking about the NBA Finals for a second, but like what he said after Game 6, he was like, "We're ready to play Game 7 right now. We want to lace right now." You know what I mean? And I was like, I felt that. I was like, yes, let's go. Let's play right now, Jimmy Butler. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's very mercurial. Would you agree?
Yeah. Now, in terms of being competitive, I would say that.
Well, that's Mars. I know. Yeah. I mean,
but also if you want to apply it to Mercury and contrast it with Virgo, Gemini is more concerned with the experience. Very much. Gemini is like, Virgo may want to know, like, all right, we're going to travel somewhere. Virgo's like, all right, I want to hit here and here. I want to do it. And if they don't hit it, it's like, damn, if I don't get to go to these places, it's kind of a waste. But Gemini's like, what? We were there, bro. Like this is. So that's kind of how it is. So to answer your original question, it's beautiful because the Virgo is so necessary because it allows me to spot the flaws and it allows me to go deeper into it. But the beauty is the Gemini knows when to be like, and it may be because it's the masculine force here in the masculine energy. Like, it doesn't matter, bro. Like it doesn't matter. Now, the older I get, because I have Leo too, the older I get, I've had to realize that like I don't want to look at things too much how I see it, but I do have to kind of step back and see how everyone else is seeing it because I can, but the Leo in me inclines me, well, I like it. And if I like it, they're going to like it. That type of thing. Yeah.
Well, definitely with the Leo stellium. I mean, I know I don't have any Leo places, but I know the Leo energy so well.
Yeah.
And raising Leo boys. So let me ask you this though, in terms of a difference between, you don't have this, but just in the Gemini archetype, since it is Gemini season, Gemini's ascendants and moons, what do you think for them is the biggest difference between those two compared to the Gemini sun?
Okay. So
yeah.
The sun it's coming out how you want it to.
Right. You're directing it.
And we're assuming that the Mercury is well placed too. Shit, I like Mercury. I like Mercury in Taurus. I like Mercury here in this little cluster here. It does well.
Yeah, Mercury in Taurus is real smooth, man.
And it can create in the right houses. It can add to that artistic ability that comes with Taurus. Good aesthetics and how to put things together.
Yeah.
But the moon may struggle with being heard how they hear themselves.
Yeah.
Now, these can be great writers, but the concentration, it's the concentration. Like, so what I've seen, there are going to be other factors, right? But let's say we end up with maybe Moon in Gemini squaring Chiron in Virgo. this is learning difficulties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it could be a plethora of things. It could be dyslexia, so many things. And I actually work a lot with the Chiron in Gemini generation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of them. So yeah, with the moon, it's getting the idea, getting everything that's in here out in an orderly fashion. So I would say that'll work good with the very successful Gemini moons I've seen are with supported by fire. Are supported by fire.
Yeah.
But
No, I can see that because the fire is helping it flourish.
every Leo Gemini type I've come by is very illuminated, like very enlightened on some degree. They don't have to be into astrology, but it's the self-awareness is there, and you can pick up on that. So and for the Gemini moon, they need other energies that allow that inner self to fulfill the will. So what do you want to communicate? Well, how do you want to express? And then focus on mastering that.
Yeah. And I've seen because I have two boys with those energies and
Wait, what, the Gemini moons?
Well, one son with a Gemini moon and one with a Gemini rising.
Okay.
It's very similar but very different. But with the Gemini moon, if they cannot state their case or state their opinion emotionally, they get extremely frustrated. And the Gemini rising happens to have a Virgo moon, and they're more private with their emotions and really open up more socially around friends, but can be almost like, because that moon, Virgo moon in the fourth house with the Gemini ascendant, their emotions, they don't ever, you may not ever see them. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting. But I find Gemini risings, they
Do you think that this son, let me ask you, or do you feel like, does he shy away from the support or like taking help? I always say this. I'm actually going to make a video about
this. They want to do it themselves. Yep.
Yeah, I actually make a video about this. I'm gonna do placements that have a hard time accepting love, and I do. Virgo is on there. Virgo's on there.
Well, Virgos and Sagittarius are the two most like bachelorette signs. You know what I mean? And so there is this energy of like Virgos and Sagittarius. They want it, but they like, I could also rock by myself if I have to. You know what I mean?
Right?
There's definitely
Wait, now mind you, all the mutables feel this, but Gemini and Pisces are like, nah, I'm gonna give in a little bit. Like,
yeah. No, I know it's funny. It's like the two squares, because the Virgo Sag, it's so like, okay, so just wrapping it up. We're not looking at any other placements. Just a Gemini sun, male or female. What other sun sign? Obviously everybody would just traditionally be like, oh, they're great with all the fires, Aries, Leo, Sag, and they're going to be good with Libra and Aquarius. But give someone out there that's a Gemini sun, what other sun could they really build like a healthy bond with? And
I said it earlier. I'm gonna say it again. Some Scorpio, but externally, this Scorpio, because there are some talkative Scorpios. Like, there really are. Like, there are really quiet ones, but damn, there are some talkers out there. And I'm like, God damn. So now, and for me, that was eye-opening. I was like, okay, shit, I'll rock with a Scorpio if she could talk. If she could communicate, I'm like, all right. But no. I said this before. Scorpio, Gemini is the 8th place of Scorpio.
Yeah.
So there is some magic there. Okay. Yeah. It's Gemini's 6th place, which we know that corresponds to 6th house is Virgo. So there's some healing that they can provide for one another, but other energies are are contingent. But on a sun to sun, I would say the sleeper and what is improving in longevity is Scorpio sun. In my own experience, my mom's a Sag, and I've had significant partnerships with Sag.
Okay.
And to Jennifer's point, they allow we make this understanding like, listen, I am not trying to see you every day. Okay, all right. You go over there. We got these phones. You need me? Holla, right? I come to your place. You come to mine when you're ready. But that's been my experience. Like so, I enjoy the freedom that Sag allows me as a Gemini.
Right.
And then they were also crucial in my awakening because they listen. They're here for they listen. And I needed that. I needed to be able to talk that shit and all of that. So I enjoy Sagittarius, but I know that everyone can't really. Oppositions are tough, man. They are tough. Okay.
But let me ask you this though: what about you're a Gemini man? What about a Gemini lady?
For a Gemini man?
Yeah, Gemini lady.
Yeah, my first love ever was a Gemini woman. Man, other factors got to come in. I would want her to have a strong feminine presence. So like a Cancer moon, some fourth house stuff.
Yeah.
Eighth house, being able to get out your head.
Yeah.
And
a little nurturing. A
little nurturing, right. Yeah. She can't be too airy. So that could work. Yeah.
Oh man. Yo, bro, we got to do this again. This has been more than fun. And I want you to just share with the audience. I'm sure everybody, some people may not know, but I'm sure most people, how to reach you and stuff. But I always, afford this opportunity to all of my guests. I put your, Gemini Brown's email is in the description down below so you guys can reach out to him. But share your website, social media, anything you want to share. And, and then before we rock up out of here.
Okay. Yeah, y'all. Gemini Brown on all platforms. Check me out on YouTube, Gemini Brown Astrology. On IG, Gemini Brown 618, GeminiBrown.com. You can check out my services and my programs. My book here, Astrology of the Matrix, is an incredible read. All right?
My God, that sounds dope, man.
This is the most non-traditional astrology book you'll come across. I am not telling you what it means to have Pisces fourth moon in the fourth house. Nothing like that. I'm taking you through the body of creation and showing how astrology applies to that, along with some other, cool occult principles. It's designed to tap into your DNA and bring what's in your DNA to life, right? And it's meant to put you in other directions. So it's a worthy investment. I'm currently running a special where if you get a reading from me, you get 50% off of this. So just holler. Yep.
I love that, bro, man. Mad props and congratulations on that, my brother. This is mad fun. So real quick, Denver Nuggets, Miami Heat. I got the Nuggets in 6 games. What's your NBA Finals prediction?
Yeah, you got them in 6?
Because Jimmy Butler.
That's respectable, bro.
No, you know why? Because Jimmy Butler, aka Jimmy Jordan, that kid is no joke, and I just believe he's gonna get a game, and Bam will wake up for one game, and Kevin Love and Kyle Lowry, they'll help him get one game. So Kyle Lowry.
I want the Miami Heat to win.
Yeah.
I love Denver. I think they are a phenomenal team.
They're just so deep. They're so deep.
It seems the year of the underdog, right? So I'm gonna go with Miami.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami. I mean, logic says Denver should crush them, but we got Uranus and Taurus, Jupiter and Taurus. see how it goes.
So wait, you gonna take Miami in 7 or in 6 or what?
I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take them at 7 because I'm anticipating them not to take to. If they could win a game in Denver, then they're gonna bring this. They're gonna bring it to life. But it's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard.
Nah, Jamal Murray and the Joker are no joke, yo.
Right. But you know, they came out that series, so they emerged tougher. Right? They went 7. Denver's been sitting. They got to just keep that intensity. But we shall see. So you got to.
It's gonna be fun either way, man.
Denver is 6, Miami and 7. I got over here, and I'll reach out to you to get you on my channel.
I appreciate that, bro. It'd be more than fun, man.
Word, for sure.
Definitely. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining Gemini and I.
Oh my God.
Rocking episode 137. Knowledge is love. Peace. Yes. Be safe out there.
The cipher was in the beginning. Go back to the beginning.
Yeah, tell them to go back and watch the cipher. Yeah, go back and watch the beginning. The whole show was dope. We went in the beginning, and it was just a pleasure, my brother. So definitely, Gemini, it's a pleasure, my brother. All right, you guys. Talk to you soon. See you Friday. Peace.